In my last video, I spoke about some of my favorite Gothic literature books, which I think Gothic lit is probably one of my favorite genres and philosophy as well. But this week I really wanted to dedicate this video to my favorite classical literature books. And I've wanted to like separate the genres between Gothic lit and classic lit, just because I have so many favorites and I didn't want it to be overwhelming in a video. So I won't highlight a lot of Gothic lit in this one, mostly just classics. And I think, literature that really impacted my life, whether it was in high school or in uni or post-grad. Also just literature that I think makes a significant impact in anyone's life. Like, some of these are project books, which is what I call literature that is longer than most books, that really require you to take time to get to know the book intimately, whether that's through annotating or taking your time or, reading it in a book club or a social setting. I think it's very much, the books that I'm going to recommend to you today are worth it. That's all I'm going to say. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about as well are affordable fragrances. I've been asked here and on TikTok and on Instagram some recommendations, and Substack as well, for fragrances that are actually affordable. And I really love this idea because we are living in the same world. And unfortunately, for me and for most people, I can't go out and buy $300 bottles worth of fragrances. A lot of the fragrances that I have back here that I mentioned are generously gifted, or fragrances that I've had for years. And I think that I just really want to be able to highlight smaller brands, indie brands, and brands that I think are affordable for everyone. Now, I think that affordable is a bit of a nuanced and ambiguous word, because what's affordable to one person might not be affordable to another person. So I want to give a bit of a range and just kind of see what lands, and hopefully there's something in there that you really fall in love with. There are a lot of really bad affordable perfumes, and there are a lot of really bad expensive perfumes. So I think that I want to create space for perfumes that are more accessible for everyone. And then I thought about doing my monthly favorites this video, but we have still a whole week left of April, and I don't want to rush out of April. So I'm going to save that for next week's video, which I love. Honestly, like, monthly favorites videos are my favorite comfort videos to watch. I don't know what it is. I wish that we could have like a whole series long, monthly faves videos of like all of my favorite creators that I could just lay back and unwind to if I'm feeling stressed. But anyways, that's next week. Let's talk about some classical literature. I have a big stack, bigger than what you see here. So I'm going to try and rapid fire kind of like what the book is about in like a couple sentences, because I don't want to drag it on. And if it's something that kind of sparks your curiosity, then go to Goodreads and see if it's something that you're interested in. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to kind of rapid fire through them. I'm going to start strong with one of my favorite books of all time, which is The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. And this book goes deep into questions of faith, guilt, and morality through the lives of three brothers after their father is murdered. And one of them is hyper-rational, one is deeply spiritual, and one is just pure chaos. And together, they kind of represent the full spectrum of what it means to be human. The next book on my list is Les Enfants Terribles by Jean Cocteau. My French is terrible. Anyways, this is The Holy Terrors, and one of my friends recommended this to me. And it's a bit of a strange book, but it's a brother and sister who isolate themselves in a dream world in their own making, and it slowly turns quite toxic. And this reads like a fever dream. It's very haunting and theatrical and a little bit feral. The next one that I have is E.M. Forster's A Room with a View, and this is about Lucy Honeychurch, who goes to Italy and she kisses the wrong boy and realizes that she wants more. She wants more than what's expected of her, more out of life than what's expected of her. And it's romantic and warm and a little rebellious, but in the softest way. Bonjour Tristesse by Françoise Sagan is about a teenage girl who spends the summer on the French Riviera with her charming but very irresponsible father, and she tries to sabotage his new relationship. And this book is like quintessentially summer. This screams and radiates summer. And also the second book to this, A Certain Smile, is beautiful, and I love this cover. But anyways, this is really about control and desire and how boredom can turn into cruelty when you're too young and too smart for your own good. The Idiot by Dostoevsky is about Prince Mishkin, and he returns to Russia after years in a Swiss hospital and gets caught in this web of people who don't know what to do with his innocence. He's basically too good for the world, and the world kind of eats him alive. But this is such a wholesome book. This is one of my favorite Dostoevsky books, and it's a lot more comforting than some of his other darker literature. Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin is set in Paris, and it follows this man who is trying and failing to come to terms with his love for another man. And this is really about shame, desire, and the ache of wanting something that you don't believe that you're allowed to have. James Baldwin is a beautiful writer, and this is one of the most beautifully written books I've ever read. Just the prose are stunning and lush and rich and beautiful. No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai is a deeply alienated and bleak book in a way that feels desperate almost. It's about a man who can't connect with others. This was actually one of the first books that I read this year, and I feel like it really ironically set the tone for the year. But it's basically about a man who can't connect with others, and he slowly disappears from himself. It's very existential, very dark, and very like The Trial by Kafka means The Idiot. The Trial by Kafka meets The Idiot. Next is Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, and this follows Anna, who is a married woman who falls in love and tries to build a life around it, but the world doesn't make room for her. It doesn't make room for women like her. It's very dramatic and tragic, but it's also full of quiet questions about purpose and love and what we're really looking for in this life. The next one that I have, this is a bit gothic, is Valette by Charlotte Bronte, and this is about a girl named Lucy Snow, and she moves to a foreign country to try and teach at a girls' school, and most of the book takes place in her head, but she's very repressed and guarded and feels everything very deeply. It's about solitude and control and just the things that we really want to say but just can't say out loud. Next on my list is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This is about a young girl who thinks that having blue eyes will make her beautiful and loved. I think Morrison does an incredible job at pulling back the curtain on racism and beauty and self-worth in a way that is both devastating but also poetic. Stunning prose, beautiful message, beautiful story, incredibly enlightening, and highly recommend this. Next is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh, and this is told through the eyes of Charles Ryder, and this is the story of his obsession with the Flight family, who is rich and eccentric and slowly falling apart. This is about memory and faith and love and the kind of beauty that makes everything feel a little less real. Next is The Master and the Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov, and in the story, the devil shows up in Soviet Moscow with a talking cat named Behemoth, and they cause absolute havoc and chaos. And meanwhile, a love story is playing out alongside a retelling of the trial of Jesus. This book is so weird and esoteric and sharp and strange and somehow incredibly moving. This is a fun Russian literature book. believe in my last video I spoke about writing more fiction. If you are new here, I am a Substack writer. I have built the most incredible community on my Substack. It's not even funny. It's my favorite place to be in the digital universe. I love writing. I am a writer. I do not go a day without writing for at least an hour. It's something that I've done my whole life. It's why I majored half my major in English literature, and in uni I did a lot of fiction writing and short story writing, and I took quite a big break from it for several reasons, but I find myself itching to get back into fiction writing, and I have kind of spent the week crafting some ideas for stories, either stories that I want to turn into actual books or perhaps a collection of short stories. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm very much in the drafting process, but I've been thinking about whether or not I want to share snippets of it on my Substack for people to read. There's been a lot of people who have kind of expressed interest in that, which I find exciting. So, and it's motivating as well. So I'm thinking about maybe sharing some of the fiction that I've been writing. But it also got me thinking about journals, and I know a lot of people talk about journaling, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about talking about it because I think it's become quite performative these days. But honestly, I don't even care. It is, I mean, if that's kind of how you view journaling, then who cares, right? You know what I mean? It's if you enjoy making it beautiful and making it aesthetic and talking about it in a poetic way, I'm here for it. And if I ever had anything negative to say about that, then I apologize, because I think that if that's what motivates you to write, who cares? Anyways, with that said, I am someone who has multiple journals, and to nobody's surprise, they are all black. These are all the same girl but different fonts, and I'm going to explain why. I think there's something beautiful about having multiple journals for multiple purposes. For example, this is my Paper Republic journal, and if you have not, I'm sure you've seen them all over social media, but they are an incredible brand. They make beautiful leather-bound journals, and I'm going to tag her below. Julissa, July Rose, makes the cutest little journal charms, and she's sending me one, and I cannot wait to get it in the mail. I'm going to show you guys as soon as it gets here. But she makes these charms where you can kind of customize your own journal. But I use this one specifically for fragrances because it's little and it has little journals that you can kind of take in and out. But I like to write fragrances that I've been loving, or maybe even on my wish list. I write stories behind them that make me feel a certain way, which sounds kind of cheesy, but fragrance and scent is such a huge part of my life, and it's such a trigger for nostalgia and memory for me, so I enjoy writing about it, and I keep a journal just for them. This is my Habonichi. This is my favorite breed of Habonichi, and I like it because this is my bookmark. This is from one of my favorite bookstores in New York City, 3 Lives and Company. If you're ever in the city, go check them out. It's in the West Village. The people who work there are so lovely, and they're always so kind to me, and I just adore this. I adore this bookstore. It's my favorite. Anyways, I like it because you can, this is a blank page, you can write out your day, but also kind of random thoughts that maybe pop into your head that you can write on the page as well. Or if you have meetings that you want to take notes about, or if there's just something about your day that you want to kind of document. I like this, and I like that it's pocket sized. You can take it with you everywhere. She's perfect. So that's what I use this one for. And then I have, let's see, I want to stay organized here. Okay. Sorry. I cannot pronounce the name of this brand. It's the Moleskine competitor. It's called Leuchtturm. I use this for brain dump journaling. This is what I would call like my ugly, non-aesthetic, and I'm not even gonna open her because she is sacred, but this is what I use to quite literally just like brain rot scribble anything that is in my mind that is like fragmented thoughts, like it's all over the place. But what I like to do, because these are so small, I usually go through one of these a month, and I have like a journal for every month. And I like this. It's the cloth bound, or like the soft cover. I'm sorry, not cloth bound. These are leather, but it has this so that it stays like intact. And they're portable. They're flexible. They're portable. I love it. I take this with me everywhere as well, and it fits nicely in my tote bag. Okay, this is the same brand, Leuchtturm. This is a hardcover journal, and I use this for my writing, and I bought one just for my fiction writing, for the story that I'm wanting to write and create, because I want to be able to put pen to paper, draft, outline, talk about characters, talk about mood boards, talk about atmospheres, and just kind of like brainstorm in this space right here. So I have a hardcover for that, for my fiction writing. And then I have one other hardcover for books. I love using a journal to write about books that I'm reading, take notes, write quotes, speak about things that really stuck out to me. I love making parallels with stories that I read with other books or philosophy, or just conceptually maybe things that I've been mulling over in my brain. Usually it's like spirituality related, religion, philosophy, existentialism, like something of the sort with what I'm reading. I am blabbering. I'm all over the place. I am so sorry. Anyways, this is my book journal, and I highly recommend having one if you are an avid reader. Okay, my last journal. This is my Louise Carmen journal. These have a cult following as well. These ones and Paper Republic both have kind of like cultish followings, and I love them both. Don't ask me to choose which one my favorite is. I can't pick favorites among my children. They're all for different purposes. So this is the Louise Carmen. They embroidered my name on it, and they put little charms on this. This has like a spiral, and it has a Virgo charm because I'm a Virgo, if you can't tell, and a little angel. And then inside, I love the inside because there's like a pouch in here where you can put like pencils or like receipts, bookmarks, Metro cards, whatever your heart desires. And then on the inside you have your paper journal. So this is my, what you would call like aesthetic journal. I love putting scrapbook pieces in there, like I said, like receipts, tickets to the theater, or like Metro cards, things like that. And I tried to make this one really pretty and almost like a scrapbook. So I don't like brain or trauma dump in this one as much as I do like my daily crazy person journal. But I like this because I feel like it's such a beautiful journal, and it just fits that kind of vibe and aesthetic for making this more of a scrapbook. So with that said, like, I highly recommend getting journals for different like aspects of your life that you can document and look back on. I think we need more of this and less screen time to kind of like document our days and have something to reference, like when you want to go back later in life and reminisce on times like this when you're in your late 20s, early 30s. Like, this is the prime years of your life, and what better way to document it than in a notebook. I also just can't wait to start writing fiction again. Like, I know I'm gonna shut up about it now, but like, it makes my heart feel so full. And even just the process of writing from last week, I feel so much lighter and happier. feel really bad because I told you guys in the beginning of the video that I was going to talk about affordable fragrances today. And when I recorded that, that was earlier this week on Monday. And I ordered samples from like 4 different places that I thought would be really great to feature in this segment for affordable fragrances, but alas, they have not arrived yet, and I'm really sad because I really wanted to talk about that with you today. But I'm thinking that next week when I do my monthly favorites, I'll do monthly favorites in the beginning, and then at the end I'll share like all of my favorite affordable fragrance recommendations. The thing is, I'm never going to sit here and tell you like or recommend something to you that number 1 I haven't tried myself, or number 2 something that I don't like. And I've gotten in trouble with brands before because sometimes a brand will send me something and I really don't like it and I'm not gonna talk about it. And even if that means like not getting paid, there's something that feels so icky, like deep down in my soul, when I see people talking about things that yeah. Anyways, I have a lot to say about that, but I'm not gonna rant about it. I just feel bad because I promised you something and now I cannot deliver on it. But what I think I'll do is kind of walk through some of the samples that I got. That way I can recommend specific ones, because I think like, yeah, I can recommend like, one of them that I want to recommend to you is C.O. Bigelow, because they make really good perfume oils. But I don't want to sit here and recommend C.O. Bigelow because there's so many scents under the umbrella of that place, and I'd rather just like pinpoint maybe a scent or 2 that I can recommend so it's not so overwhelming. Anyways, so I apologize, but maybe I will, in this last part of the video, I'll go through some happy mail that I got that really made my day, something from Aesop and something from La Occitan. I never know how to say that, but and then I also I got my first big girl partnership, my first big girl paid partnership with a brand who like literally speaks straight into my soul. So I want to talk to you about that as well, and then we'll close out and then plan for next week. So I am so excited to share that I have partnered with MUBI, and MUBI is one of my absolute favorite platforms for film. And if you've ever wanted to get more into international or independent or just genuinely good cinema but didn't know where to start, I think this is the perfect place, because MUBI is beautifully curated. There's no like endless scrolling, and every film on there feels very intentional and weird and artful and unforgettable in its own way. So this partnership just really means a lot to me because I write and talk so much about film and media and like different cinema that really moves me and speaks to my soul. And now I get to work with a platform that actually cares about great storytelling. And I think what I want to do is, as a part of this collaboration, I want to be able to share all of the films that you can watch that I've been featuring by signing up. And if you sign up on movie.com/milkfed, they will give you 30 free days. And there's no strings attached, just pure, amazing, incredible, nostalgic, wonderful, whimsical cinema. I think this is one of the easiest ways to break out of the Netflix trap, or, you know, if you're just wondering where you should start. I love Letterboxd, but sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming as well. So this is the perfect place for you. I have recently watched some films to kind of unwind during the evening. So I want to share with you some of my favorites that I've watched kind of over the past couple of weeks. The first one is Betty Blue from 1986, and this is a French cult classic about a passionate, chaotic relationship between this handyman and a free-spirited woman named Betty. It's romantic and it's very sensual, but I think it also reveals something about Betty's mental health as she really like starts to spiral. You're like immersed into this messy love story with an emotional intensity, and it's just cinematically, it's beautiful. The acting is stunning and just a very well done piece of cinema. Next one that I watched is Benedetta from 2021, and this is actually based on a true story. It follows a 17th century nun in Italy who claims to have religious visions and ends up with a scandalous situationship, technically. It's a relationship with another nun, and it's very provocative and like full of power dynamics. And I feel like it really blurs the line between faith and desire and manipulation. And this is just a wild watch. Like, it mixes history and religion and eroticism, and this is like very like erotic and religious, which that's like that is my drug of choice right there. Erotic, religious, dark, gothic, all of those things make me incredibly happy. I also watched this film called Decision to Leave from 2022, and this is a slow burn Korean mystery from the director Park Chan-wook, and it's about a detective investigating a suspicious death of a man and then becoming emotionally entangled with the dead man's wife. So it's moody, romantic, suspenseful, and there's beautiful cinematography with a lot of subtle tension. Next one is The House of Tolerance from 2011, and this is set in a luxurious Parisian brothel at the turn of the 20th century, and it's less about plot, more about atmosphere. It focuses on the daily lives of women working there, their routines, relationships, and how they navigate a world built on performance and survival. It's very stylized, very intimate, more stunning cinematography. Next is Secret Sunshine from 2007, and it's a Korean drama about a woman who moves to a small town with her son after a tragedy. It deals with grief, religion, forgiveness, and it's very raw in a human way. It's heavy, but the performances and the acting is incredible. Lastly, Frances Ha from 2012. You probably have seen this already, but if not, it's a coming-of-age story about a 20-something-year-old woman living in New York, just figuring out adulthood, friendship, life, career stuff. And she's broke and awkward and idealistic, and the film really captures that like weird in-between feeling of not quite being where you thought you would be. Very relatable. At least I can speak for myself and say that it's very relatable in a kind of like comforting, sad, melancholic way. So that's like my cinema roundup. Very honored to be a MUBI partner.